Hi, and welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to discuss why this Indiana Fever system of Caitlin Clark playing off the ball. I'm going to talk about why this is a bad idea, right? Now, granted, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination a huge Caitlin Clark fan, but I'm just an honest speaker and I just speak on my honest observations, right? I like to see a lot of people making videos talking about why this isn't going to work. But none of them are actually being totally honest about why it's not going to work. I'm going to be 100% honest with you as to why it's not going to work. And I'm going to start out by saying very simply this: it's not going to work because of who Caitlin Clark is as a person. In my opinion, Caitlin Clark is addicted to the spotlight. She loves the spotlight. She likes to know that all eyes are on her. That's just the reality. I'm not saying that to say it's a bad thing or anything. Hey, a lot of great players are like that. I mean, you're putting on a show, you want to know that people are watching, right? So she needs to know that all eyes are on her. When you're watching a basketball game, your eyes are always gonna be on the person with the ball. That's just natural. You're always gonna watch the person with the ball. There's a reason why players who handle the ball a lot, point guards, when they're good, especially if they're good scorers, they tend to be more popular than any other position in the game, right? They tend to be more popular than any other position in the game because by default they have the ball a lot and all eyes are on them. Now, you take Caitlin Clark, she comes to the league, before she got there, they were flying commercial. She gets there, now they're flying private. They just had a new CBA massive pay increases. And a lot of people attribute that to Caitlin Clark's arrival in the league and how the ratings have changed because when people are watching these Indiana Fever games or going to the games, they're going there to see Caitlin Clark. Why? Because she has the ball in her hands a lot and she's good with the basketball. So, by default, she's going to be very popular because she has the ball in her hands a lot. You take the ball out of her hands and you have her out there running around trying to get open, catch and shoot type player, you're basically diminishing Caitlin Clark. You're literally destroying her popularity. You're destroying her career, possibly. I'm going to be honest. If this is Stephanie White's idea of coaching Caitlin Clark, she may not be the right coach for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark needs a coach that's going to put the ball in her hands. Caitlin Clark needs a coach that's going to make her the center of attention because that's what she needs to be successful. She needs to be the center of attention. It's that simple. And you can think whatever you want to think about it, but that's just the reality. At Iowa, she was the center of attention. When she came into the league, she was the center of attention. That's all she knows. That's all she knows. And that has worked out great for her and great for the places she's been. It's been great for Iowa. It's been great for the Indiana Fever. It's been great for the WNBA. Why is Stephanie White trying to change something that's worked great all this time? This is a bad idea. You're going to, if the goal is to diminish Caitlin Clark, this is how you do it. You take the ball out of her hands. There's a reason why Asia Wilson is not as popular as Caitlin Clark, despite, in my opinion, being a better player and having more titles, right? Because Asia Wilson is a center. As good as she is, she doesn't have the ball in her hands a lot. She gets the ball when it's time to score. So she's going to get the ball, and a couple of seconds, she's going to try to score. That's it. She doesn't have the ball a lot. She's not out there dribbling the ball, making decisions, taking shots like that, like a point guard. You look at the draft. You look at the draft. Who went number one? A guard. Who went number two? A guard. You could argue that Lauren Betts could have went one or two, but she's not as popular because she doesn't have the ball in her hands all the time, like a guard. Why is Juju Watkins popular? She's skilled, she's good, but she's a guard. She has the ball a lot. There is something about having the ball in your hands a lot. As good as Kelsey Mitchell is, she's not as popular because she's not a point guard. She doesn't have the ball in her hands a lot. Caitlin Clark's popularity has a lot to do with her having the ball because when you're watching a game, when you're watching a basketball game, you are going to watch the person with the ball because that's where the action is. It's by default. It is by default. So when you take the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hand, you're going to diminish her popularity. You're actually hurting the Fever and you're hurting the league, right? So Stephanie White's idea, even though she might think it's a good basketball idea, it is a bad idea in terms of the popularity of Caitlin Clark. It is a bad idea in terms of the Indiana Fever capitalizing on her popularity and the league capitalizing on her popularity. Stephanie White is she may not be the right coach for Caitlin Clark if she doesn't understand this. This is not about basketball. Nobody cares. No, Caitlin Clark's fans are not going to care if the Indiana Fever wins a title if Caitlin Clark is not at the center of that, right? If she's not the biggest reason they're winning, her fans aren't going to care. They're not going to care. So Stephanie White is thinking purely basketball. This is not about purely basketball. Great players don't become great just on purely basketball. Michael Jordan wasn't great just purely on his basketball skills. Trust me, Phil Jackson had a lot to do with that because he ran a lot of stuff for Michael Jordan. LeBron James, his coaches ran a lot of stuff for him because he's the guy. All right? Caitlin Clark, you got to run a lot of stuff for her. You have to make sure she's the center of attention. Whether people think it's fear or not, it's not about fear. It's not about fear, right? You might say, well, is that fair to Kelsey Mitchell? It's not about fear. Is that fair to Aaliyah? It's not about fear. It's a business. You got to do the things that's going to generate revenue. Taking the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands and diminishing her popularity is not going to generate revenue. It's going to diminish her popularity. When she doesn't have the ball, watch her play. She's frustrated. She starts to take crazy shots. She starts to force the issue. When she does get the ball, she's so hungry to show what she can do. She's forcing the issue. She's taking bad shots. And she just looks frustrated because she doesn't know how to operate without being the center of attention. She has to be the center of attention. And She needs a coach who understands it. At Iowa, she had a coach who understood that. And she took them to the finals 2 years in a row. Even though she got spanked twice, she still got them there. They haven't gotten close since she left, right? So Stephanie White needs to stop thinking basketball. Like when you're coaching Caitlin Clark, it's not just about basketball. You taking the ball out of her hands, you're actually hurting her popularity. You're hurting the Indiana Fever, and you're hurting the WNBA. So, you know, whatever great idea you might be thinking this is, playing Caitlin Clark off the ball, it's a very bad idea. It is a very bad financial idea. You need Caitlin Clark to be at the center of everything because that's what the fans want to see. That is what the fans are coming to those games to see. That's what they're going to turn on the TV and watch it on TV to see. They want to see her at the center of everything. And if you're not making that happen, you're hurting the whole situation. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people talk about this and but they're not being honest. I'm telling you the honest to goodness truth. Caitlin Clark needs to be the center of attention. She's not a good player if she's not. She's addicted. She loves the limelight. She loves the spotlight. And she needs to know that people are watching her. People are wondering what she's going to do next. And when she does something great, that she needs to know that people know, hey, look at what she just did. She needs that. And by taking the ball out of her hands, Stephanie White is denying her that. And so this is not going to work. This is not going to work. All right? It's really not going to work. Stephanie White, if she forces that issue and she forces Caitlin Clark to be without the ball, I don't think she's going to be the coach of the Indiana Fever next season. I really don't. Even if they were to win a title, I still don't think she would be the coach because what's the point of you winning a title if nobody cares? The people are only going to care if the Indiana Fever wins a title if Caitlin Clark is at the center of that process. If she's just out there running around, catch and shoot, and she's not a big part of the process, nobody's going to care if they win a title. Her fans aren't going to care. I can tell you that right now. Her fans are not going to care if she's not the center of it all. So, yeah, I'm just going to say that's the honest to goodness truth. Nobody's saying it, but I'll say it. Caitlin Clark needs to be the center of attention. And without that, I mean, that system doesn't work. The clock economics or whatever they call it doesn't work. So Stephanie White really needs to stop and think like this is not all about basketball, Stephanie White. It's not all about basketball. You need to reconsider that because your job might depend on it. I think your job does depend on it. Anyway, that's all I had to say about that. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.